Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, December 9th, 2021. And because it's Thursday, it's happy hour. So hopefully you have your recovery beverage of choice. Today I've got Noon citrus fruit. It kind of tastes like I forget the kind that I get. It's like a mango citrus or something like that I normally get. That's my favorite one, but that's a caffeinated one. This is like a pretty much tastes like almost exactly the same, but it's not caffeinated. Sometimes I don't want the caffeine. So that's what I'm going with today. I wasn't sure if I was going to go with a beer or a protein shake today. So I guess I kind of went with neither. Decided I would go with the Noon. Everyone listening on the podcast, hopefully you're having a good run out there today. Today for me, it was super crazy windy. It wasn't too cold. It's actually warming up a bit, but so windy, very discouraging. And the waves on the lake were angry today. So there was a lot of splashing. The one thing I'll tell you guys on the podcast today, you're not going to see the new haircut. Just got back from the barber a little while ago. I'm still not quite used to it. It's kind of hard to see anyway because I got the headphones on, but I did get a haircut today, finally. I got to tell you, I don't think, no matter how I cut the hair, I don't think, if I cut it just a little bit, I think I would have been upset because I feel like then I got a haircut for nothing. And then this time the guy cut it way shorter than I wanted. I'm not loving that. But no matter what, I always dislike it when I get out of a haircut. So it'll grow back, but you'll have to wait for the next video if you're listening on the podcast to see what it looks like. Everyone watching on YouTube after the fact, hopefully you're sitting back with a nice recovery beverage and enjoying the day. And let's see who's here in the chat. All right. We've got PG says, hi, Kofuzi, how's it going? Are you all set for Christmas? My wife takes care of all that stuff. It's one of those things where I would love to help out more, but I'm kind of not allowed to. So, we got all the Christmas stuff out like the week before Thanksgiving. We got it out real early. So I think I gotta shop for my niece and nephew on my side, my sister's kids. But I don't see them until New Year. So and I usually ship the stuff over to there. So that makes it pretty easy. But overall, I think I'm in pretty good shape because again, I don't do much. My wife takes care of most of it. Pack North Ultra says, good morning, afternoon, all. Awesome. I like that logo. It's a little campfire. I love it. Philip Bourne says, good day, everyone. Daryl says, hey. Zamboni 22397 says, what's going on? Chicago application not selected. Bummer, but I'll find another fall one. Yeah, I think the lottery results go out today. I gotten a lot of messages from people saying that they didn't get in, so they just signed up for CIM. And I don't know. I think that it's highly likely that I'll go back next year. I'll have to kind of see. I'm very tempted to just sign up now because I was looking at the calendar and TRE and CIM are going to be kind of back to back again. I don't know if that's a good idea to do that again, to do both of them. If I were to do one, I would just do TRE. So, we'll see, but might as well just kind of sign up for the race and hold my spot, right? I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I was also looking at Indianapolis and New York Marathon, again on the same day, unfortunately, but it's a good time of year for racing. Daryl says, I think he's given some high fives, one of these things, and then a wave. I don't know what to call that emoji in the middle, but good to see you, Daryl. David Sachs did get into the Chicago Marathon, so excited. Awesome. I'll see you next year. Stevie76 says, yo, what's going on? Slim Ty says, hair. Yeah, it's a lot shorter. Definitely a lot shorter. I still haven't had a chance to shower and stuff yet. So or style it or whatever, because I guess I'm gonna have to do that now. Also, I think my hair is gonna have to take some time to get used to where I'm parting it again. As the hair got real long, everything wanted to be a middle part, but normally when my hair is this length, I'm more of a side part, and this hair here is what's happening. It doesn't know what's happening anymore. So some adjustments will be required. It'll be interesting to see what my kids will say. I think the baby has been against me getting a haircut, and my daughter the older one has been like, when are you going to get a haircut, Dad? That kind of thing. So we'll see what they say. LucasH says, hello, my running friends. Watched yesterday's stream late last night. Really enjoyed Tommy on it. Awesome. Great combo. Bring him on more often. I'm glad you guys liked it. I love talking to Tommy. It's great to have him on there. yeah, I mean, conversation is really good with Tommy. I enjoy spending time with him. He's a very thoughtful person as well, so that's something that I can always use more of in my life. So very cool. Martha is drinking turmeric ginger tea, and the haircut looks fantastic. I think that I'm gonna ultimately like it. The funny thing is about the haircut. So I go in there, and there was a little bit of language barrier. I think this guy's main language was probably Spanish, but we're talking. And so I'm like, I think I want my hair. I was like, I'd still like to be able to tuck it behind my ear a little bit. So, or maybe just barely, maybe just make it just too short for that. So keep some of the length. And then he goes, so you mean like my hair? And his hair was like very, very short. Just like a middle-aged man's haircut. I was like, no, I want it longer than that. He's like, okay. And then I think I could pretty much have his haircut. So that's okay. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll look fine overall in the end. I think, ultimately it's probably exactly what I want. So, but we did start out what's funny is he was like, how long do you want it in the back? And I was kind of like, here's how long I want it. He's like, okay. So then he took it where I had my hand and he grabbed the hair and just cut all the extra, a little bit low, and then he cut below and then he trimmed it up. But it was like a big chop of the hair in the back. Very much like a Coming to America, that Eddie Murphy movie moment. And I was like, all right, I'll turn him back at this point. So there's that. All right. Ray, Sergeant Ray's here. What's going on, sir? How are ya? Daniel says, bro, it looks slick. It looks sick. Solid cut. Well, thank you very much. It's making me feel a little bit better about it. I mean, the more I'm looking at it now, I feel like, okay, this works. I can work with this. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to either way. But mainly for me, like the thing was like, I couldn't figure out like, because here we go. Jana's saying, hey everyone, why did you cut your hair? Just got tired of it. I like it when I'm in a running hat. But when I have to do that, like how I ran for CIM, I'm like tied into it. I have to get the ponytail, then like get the hat on it, get the ponytail out the back, and then I made another little bun. So like it was a process. And now that it's getting even, and the thing is, when I get hot and I'm running, sometimes I like to flip the cap backwards and forward. It's just a nice kind of like reset mentally. As I'm running, I just kind of like to move the hat around, fidget with it a little bit. And that's very hard to do with the bun. And then now that it's winter and I'm running with a neck gaiter and a winter hat, like I didn't know what to do with the hair. Does it come over the neck gaiter? Does it go under the neck gaiter? Every time I did that, if I brought the neck gaiter down, every time I pulled it back up, like if I turned around and then all of a sudden there's a headwind, every time I pulled my neck gaiter back up, I would get a mouthful of my own hair. And I was like, this is not workable. I don't know how to do this. You know what I should have done? I guess I told you guys the other day that on my flight home from Sacramento, I sat in front of Noah Droddy on the airplane. I should have asked him what he does. Because I feel like he would have had some really good tips. Yeah. But I think this will probably be like my only haircut until like maybe the summer. I just don't like going to the barbershop. It just seems like such an ordeal, and I always feel bad afterwards. So it's something that's very easy for me to put off. So like, it'll get longer again. So yeah, Lucas knows what I'm talking about. He says I always hate haircuts too. All right. I'm gonna scroll down. Because I'm way behind on some of the chat. I'm gonna keep up with you guys. Sorry. If anyone's new here and you had any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm sorry if I missed it already. If you can copy paste it, I'll be sure to get it. All right. Leona here says she likes a haircut. Well, thank you, Leona. I appreciate it. Yeah, and CR says it usually takes a few days for a hair to settle after a haircut. I think so. I think more of it is like me getting visually used to it. So Terry says when he gets his haircut, he says, I don't care how long, but can you cut it less gray? Did I tell you guys about the one time? I think the last time I got a haircut, or maybe two or three times ago when I got a haircut. I don't know if I could see it now, or maybe it fell out. But I used to have like a really, like in the front, there was this very prominent gray hair somewhere. And it was really long at one point. Not as long as my other hair, but like it was longer for like maybe a year or two ago. And the barber, she's like, you want me to cut that? You want me to pull that one out? And I'm like, no. Just leave that. It's my racing stripe. It makes me fast. So like, just leave that gray in there. She's like, all right, if you want me to. I think she thought I was kidding, but I was serious. And I had her leave it in. All right. X Truth says PR'd at the Hot Chocolate 15K this past weekend at 132. Awesome. Great job, X Truth. Was that the Hot Chocolate 15K here in Chicago? Was it in here? I thought no, that can be the Chicago. That must have been in a different city because the Chicago one I think is usually around Halloween. What city was that? Stevie's in his like, where does the sheep get her haircut? At the Baba shop. That's funny. That's really funny. I told my kids I heard a new kids joke. So I've been telling you how I've been like playing around with TikTok, and there are a lot of channels that are dedicated to dad jokes or like jokes for kids. So I've been picking up a couple new ones, and when I listen to, I really forget the channel. I apologize, but and the format's usually pretty nice. Like a lot of times there's two people, and there was this one where I saw it set up like it was like set up like a podcast, like a very fancy podcast. And the one woman goes, "How come you never see elephants hiding in trees?" And then it cuts to the guy, and the guy's like, "I don't know." And the woman says, "Well, it's because they're really good at it." And it took me a while to figure that out. They had already gone like two other jokes before I was like, "Oh, I get it now." It took me a while. So I sprung that one on the kids right over their heads, right by him. I'm like, "Do you get it?" She's like, "No, I don't get it at all." So I don't know why it took me a long time to catch it. It's not that complex of a joke, but I just thought it was really funny. Zeth Baturka's here. What's going on, Zeth? Good to see you again. Says, morning, a little late, but congrats on crushing it at CM. Well, thank you so much. I'm still trying to I'm not trying to milk it, but I'm still trying to enjoy, the result of a lot of hard work. I'm trying to just still not be like, all right, celebration over and put it away in a box. I'm trying to kind of, take a minute to enjoy that. So I appreciate the congratulations. All right. Melvin Umang says, hey, Mike and Co-Fam, love the new do. Just got a haircut in time for Christmas party season. Great news, this AM got selected for Chicago 26.2. Looking forward to meeting you. Any gift request from Canada? No, you guys don't have to give me any gifts. That's totally cool. But I am looking forward to meeting you in person next year. I'm thinking, next year, I mean, I'm not anticipating that the shakeout run will be as big next year as it was this year. I think this year's was unique in the fact that it was kind of one of the first big marathon majors back and first races back for a lot of people. So I think next year will probably be smaller, but I am thinking that, I probably need to set something up where at least have someone to help me, maybe have some snacks or something, or have some sort of thing to give away. Because, we had that at the end of the Puma run in Austin, and that's very different because Puma was a part of the event, and they had sent photographers and videographers, and they had clearly invested a lot of money in it. So they something not quite to that level because they had a step and repeat, so you could take photos and all this stuff. But I think that I think for Chicago it should be a bigger event. So I'm gonna do some extra planning for next year. So it should be a lot of fun. MZZY says, any tips for new beginners running in winter? I will say, don't worry about paces at all. And don't even worry about mileage really. Just think about amount of time that you're going to be out there. Right. And it can be reduced. So I remember my first year of running throughout the winter in Chicago. I was running maybe 40 miles a week during the summer, and I toned it down to maybe 25, 30 miles a week. And then the next year I was running maybe 50 miles a week during the summer. And then I went to 40 for the winter. So there's a reduction in overall mileage, and there's a reduction in intensity as well. And mainly it's because, being outside for a very long time can be a little bit dangerous if it's very, very cold. So, manage expectations and go in with kind of I would say a different kind of mindset than you would for, say, summer running. So those would be kind of my new tips. And for me, I would say until you really get a good hang of at this temperature, this is how much layers that I need. I would say don't be worried about dressing a little bit too warm. I mean, don't go crazy, but like if you're like, I'm torn between this cooler outfit and this one that's slightly warmer, go with the slightly warmer one, at least for the beginning. So those would be some tips. All right. Leona says maybe my wife can help cut the hair. Yeah. You know what? So when we were in Iowa, Grandma cut the girls' hair a couple of times, and Grandma cuts Grandpa's hair. And so she was like, "You want me to cut yours?" And I was like, "Nah, I'm good." Not that I didn't think she could do a good job. I knew she could do a good job. I just didn't want to get it. I just want to keep growing it out, even though it was growing out really funny. But like as I was getting my hair cut today, I was like, I should have just had Grandma do it. So maybe next time. Daniel M says, I grew my hair out too, and it's so much easier to have it short, better, and hats, frankly, too. Yeah, I mean, that's like in the wintertime, I'm wearing, the knit caps, the big hats. And the big thing was like the neck gaiters. Like, how do I like deal with that up and down? Like last winter, the hair was like of a length that it was a little bit more manageable still. So I feel like last winter's length is a good length. That's about as long as I think I'd ever need to get it. Jackie says, Believe in the Run put out a first look on the Fresh Foam series. Ooh, I haven't seen any of those. I'll have to check those out. All right. Philip says, the trick is doing your own haircut saves a bunch of money. I used to do all my own haircuts growing up. It was like a thing. Everyone did it. We all cut each other's hair. I don't know if kids are still doing that these days. But that was definitely a big thing. Like we would all go over to each other's houses and like cut each other's hair. It would make a mess. It would drive all of our parents crazy. Because like when you have like clippers and Asian hair, it just gets everywhere. It's like it never fully gets cleaned up. It's just once it's in there, it's in there. So, but that's what we did. And I did that through most of college too, even after college a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, see, like I'm gonna. Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Gino Days Off says, "Hey, Coach, shave it all off. Possible sub 3." When I posted a photo of me like sitting at the haircut place, like waiting to get my haircut, and Ben Johnson goes, "Oh, so you're finally gonna get a haircut like mine?" And he has a fully shaved head, and I was like, "Yeah, sure." I said yes. I told him yes. But I also had by the time I responded, I also posted like the photo of the actual haircut, so he would have seen. That was just kidding. All right. Okay, actually it said that the Hot Chocolate 15K was in St. Louis. Very cool. Very cool. Shannon says, "Hey, Co, my foot issues flare when I have more intensity within my runs. Do you think maybe you would cut back on the MP miles week of next time and just do strides? I don't think MP miles that close matter." Yeah, maybe. I liked having the marathon pace miles in there. I didn't have that many the week up. I had, I think, one. The thing that was probably more problematic for me was that track workout. Not that it was much of a workout. We did 6 100s with a hook on Wednesday. And then Friday, I did 6 miles easy with one of those miles at marathon pace. So it wasn't a lot. But, I think that something that I still like having a little bit of some sort of intensity in there, just so that the body can still like touch that level and kind of be really familiar with it. But I could probably achieve the same thing with like doing some sort of like mini fartlek, like 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off at marathon pace for a couple of like 3 or 4 times. I think that'd be fine too. So I can definitely like take it easy. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with the foot issue thing. Because sometimes like for Chicago, it didn't bother me at all. And for the most part, it didn't bother me during the buildup for CIM either, except for until like 3 weeks out. So, maybe it's something that I just need to pay a little bit more attention to as I get into those like last 3 weeks. Some people have been saying that like the last 3 workouts that I did was like a 22-mile run 3 weeks out, an 18-mile run 2 weeks out. I think that's how I did it. Or was it 4 weeks and then 3 weeks? I think the 22-miler was 3 weeks out. So like some people said that that's too much, but I'm like, when do you guys work? It's like, it seems like the more and more I talk to people about when to put the last big workout, it just gets earlier and earlier. And I'm not sure that makes a ton of sense to me. I've also been reading Joe Hill's book, and he coached he coached people of all distances. But he writes his workouts kind of backwards than what I've been used to seeing from Jack Daniels, where he puts a lot of the higher intensity at the end of the training block rather than at the beginning. Now, I haven't finished reading that book, so I don't. That might not be his ultimate prescription for marathoners, but so I'm just like kind of looking at stuff to see kind of like where to put things. But ultimately, I'm not too worried about it. I think I've got all the pieces there. These are all. I think that's a lot of different ways of getting to the same result. I just gotta maybe get more of the cushion shoes, or maybe spend more time on the bike on easy days rather than running. So I don't know. I think I could figure it out, but it's something that I'll keep an eye on. But we'll see. We'll see. Lots, lots to like kind of look at. CP76 says the haircut is a Flowbee review missed opportunity. You know what? When the pandemic started, I tried to buy a Flowbee, and I couldn't find them anywhere except on eBay for like over $100. And I was like, that's a lot of money for a Flowbee. It's going to take a lot of years to make up that, not for me anyway, to make up the money on that Flowbee investment. So it's something that I've definitely considered. Danny Run says, good morning, just logging on. Hope you all are doing well. Awesome. Good to see you, Danny. All right. That running guy says, haircut looking good. Thanks. It's growing on me. I really didn't like it because like when I first got out of the chair, the hair is used to being weighed down, and then when you cut it, it just whoop, and it gets sprayed with water, and then it's drying off. So it was like super poofy up top, and I was like, this is not great. Although I gave the guy a good tip, and I'm like, thanks for the haircut. I feel fantastic, which is what a normal person should do, even if they get a bad haircut, I think. But I think it's settling in. I'm feeling okay. Yeah. Let's see. Ken Murray says, hey there from an overcast and cool Chicago. What's going on, Ken? And Jason Dahl says, hey everyone, late as always. Hope everyone in the Chicago lottery was selected. We got a little bit from both so far, Jason. We got a couple of people saying that they got in, some people saying that they didn't. This is when the charities start sending out their emails, seeing if anyone wants to get a bib that way. So there's still opportunities. Liam Mahoney says, appreciating the work you put in and appreciating the moment is crucial. Wish I had that kind of self-awareness as a young man. Well, thanks. I'm trying, it's not something that always comes naturally to me. And it's something that I just recently heard as I was going for my first run after the marathon yesterday on a podcast. So I was like, yeah, that is a good idea. That is something that we should appreciate more. Because I've certainly had races where afterwards I'm like, man, I did everything wrong. And I just feel terrible for a really long time. I mean, basically like the last 3 or 4 races in a row for me, at least marathons. So like one that went really well, I feel like I should take at least as long, appreciating some, decent success where for at least as long of a time as I would beat myself up had it not gone well, so that's kind of where I'm trying to take it from. CV76 says Puma or Puma. You know what? That's something that I meant to ask Todd Fokker when I met him at Puma. I actually owe him an email. So maybe I'll see if I can get an official statement from him. Todd is the the PLM product line manager. I think that's his title. I'm not sure. He's no, I have his card somewhere. But he's in charge of basically a lot of the running shoes that are out there. And I think some of the other like fitness shoes that they have. So he's in charge of a lot of stuff over there. So he would know. My take on it is probably the official pronunciation is however you pronounce the cat in that country. That's going to be my take on it. Martha says, the first review of the Adidas Takumi Sen 8, a rave by Doctors of Running, could be a super shoe that works for me to try. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I gotta check to see though. Not that it really matters for me, but I've been talking about trying to get into the indoor masters championship meet. I think it's in March. And trying to get into like if there's a 2 mile or a 1 mile, getting in there. And I wonder if I think I don't know if that shoe would be too tall to race in that. I mean, I'm sure I could show up in a pair of like, Metaspeed Sky and no one would say anything really. Although I wonder, not because it's not like I'm gonna break a record or anything. So, but I wonder if someone did break a record, if that'd be a problem. Because the last USATF Masters meet that I went to, a lot of records got broken that day. Typically, they were in like the 90-year-old category or the 100-year-old category. Those are the ones that were getting broken. There wasn't. I mean, the people that run in like the 40-year-old category, they're still really fast. So I'm still just like, I don't belong in this meet. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But I'm pretty curious about that shoe too. Running guy just signed up for his first 50K ultra trail. Awesome. That's going to be really fun to watch you train for that and go for a race. Leona says 2021 has been so much better than 2020. Think you met your goal of traveling more and meeting Kofuzians. I think I did a pretty good job. Hopefully next year is going to be a really good year for that as well. Because I think I'm going to go try and watch Boston. So I'll meet people, probably that I've never met before that way because I've never been to that race. And then I was just looking at grandma's again this year. And I think, I was looking at the calendar again, and my running buddy had said that it was the same week as the last week of school for CPS, Chicago Public Schools. But I don't think it is. If I'm looking at the calendar right, I don't think it is. So I think I might be able to go. I'm going to see if he wants to go too. He might not be able to go for other reasons, but I think I'm going to sign up for that one pretty soon here. I have to run it by my wife, make sure that's okay. But I was thinking, Duluth, Minnesota, in June, I think it's going to be pretty nice. Maybe get the kids to come up, and then maybe we'll go camping or something afterwards. I don't know how to do that, but my wife does. So maybe she can figure that part out. Ray wants to know, what's the most exciting upcoming shoe for me? This is a weird time of year. I think like there's not a ton of shoes that come out now. I think like I got an email about, I think if you're like a member of Adidas, you can buy the Ultra Boost now. I think that comes out today actually. But I could have ordered that a couple days ago. I think I'm just going to completely pass on the Ultra Boost this year. It's not worth my time, I think. But I'm trying to think, what am I the most excited for? I'm really excited for the Tecton X. I think that's going to be really interesting because I like the Zenol so much, and I like the Torrent, and I feel like it's kind of combined both of those things. So it's like I'm really excited about that one. On the roads, I'm really curious to see what. I mean, it's basically from what I saw at TRE. Those are the shoes that I'm most excited for. I'm also excited to see what happens with the Metaspeed Sky next year, because they said they're going to fix the toe box. So I'm very excited to see what happens there. So, I mean, those are the things that I'm most excited for because I like the racers. I'm super curious about, there's been rumors about a new turbo coming out. So, I love the Peg turbo. And then I'm just curious to see what they do with the Pegasus because I feel like it's not in a good spot right now. So I think it needs some major corrections, but so those are some of the things that I mean, there's just so much that I'm super excited about, but like, as I'm looking at the shoes that I still need to like kind of run in, and then I'm thinking about like, oh, well, all these other shoes, I already seen like the next year's shoes. Like something that I've always had a problem with is like getting shoes too early, or like even when other people's reviews come out really early, like a lot of Hoka stuff, they'll just send it out to people and have them review it like 4 or 5 months before the shoe comes out. And I'm like, it's too early. Because I don't want to know about it if it's 4 months before the shoe actually goes for sale. And I'm kind of in that position now where I'm like, I still need to look at the Endorphin Shift 2. It's been sitting in a box for like 5 months for me, but I'm still gonna take a look at it. But I'm like, I just saw the Endorphin Shift 3. Do I even want to look at the 2? So it's kind of messing me up seeing all these shoes ahead of time and while I definitely will go to TRE again next year, I may just go to hang out with people and have fun rather than and like go to like shakeout runs and stuff rather than spend as much time looking at every single thing in all the booths. I mean, you can't not look at everything in the booths, but yeah, I don't know. I think I just the the time gaps is just I'm having a hard time juggling it all. Thomas does a really good job because he's like, oh yeah, yeah, I saw this one. I saw 2022, and I also saw the 2023, and he's of like some shoe, and I'm like, how do you even talk about to the 2021 then if you already know what's coming down 2 years from now? It's just I can't even keep all that stuff straight. So we'll figure something out. I'll find a happy medium, you know. All right. Charles Losner says, what type of shoe do you like to run your long runs in? What if it's a fast finish long run? For a fast finish long run, I'll probably just run in a super shoe. Unless it's like, 16 miles easy and then 2 miles marathon pace, then maybe not. Then I might go with a speed day shoe or a daily trainer. But most of the time, if it's going to be like 15 miles or longer, I'll probably put on a super shoe for that. If it's going to be, but I think shoes like the Bondi X and like the DB8 Nitro, those shoes that are like not really super shoes, but do have a carbon plate in them, I think those tend to work out really well for that kind of run where it's like mostly easy. Where a super shoe, like for example, like the Endorphin Pro 2, I wouldn't want to do 15 easy miles in that shoe. That would not be so comfortable. Even if the last two were going to be fast. So there's some options, but like usually I will reach for like a super shoe, like the RC Elite 2, I think would be a great one. But also I think shoes like the Hyperion Tempo, like those Tempo Day shoes. I don't know about the Rebel version 2 because I don't really love that one for super long distances. But other shoes that are in that speed day category I think would really work. Lucas says, been doing your 6 times 6 minute threshold workout and loving it. I tried to explain to my running buddy why it's different than a tempo run, but I failed. How would you describe the benefits and differences? Well, I mean, I think it depends. Like a lot of times people like say, I don't know what people mean, but when people say tempo run, to be honest. So like some people say a tempo run and threshold run is the same thing. Some people say a tempo run is like in between threshold pace and easy. So I'm like, so you mean like marathon pace or maybe a little bit faster than marathon pace, but faster than marathon pace is like half marathon pace, right? So like, it's just vague words to me. When I think about tempo, I think of like what Seth calls like the easy plus, I think that's what he calls it, easy plus. But it just really depends on the differences in the terminology. So like for me, I generally don't use tempo training in that sense. If we're defining it as something around marathon pace, maybe a little bit slower, I don't really use that kind of run at all. I might do it for a very long run as a way of like, instead of having a complete recovery in between marathon miles, using something that's in that kind of tempo category. But I think threshold is between 10K pace and half marathon pace. So it's a lot harder to maintain, I think, than tempo. If those things mean something different, some people, but I think a lot of people make them mean the same thing. So it just depends on your coach, like growing up, or how you learned what those terms mean. So I'm not sure that I helped answer that question at all, because I think, but like. So another way to look at it is that I think if you follow, like there used to, I don't know if the Runner's World program still do this, but there used to be a Runner's World program where like the last run was like 13-mile tempo. And I'm like, okay, so unless you are a world-class Olympian, tempo definitely does not mean threshold, right? Because threshold pace, the reason why it's between like 10K and half marathon is because it's supposed to be a pace you can hold for 40 minutes to an hour as a race. And so, yeah. So like, unless you're doing a half marathon in an hour, then 13 miles at tempo is going to be slower than half marathon pace. And like physiologically, I'm not sure. I mean, it's important because it's harder than marathon pace, and slower than threshold pace. So it could be a good way to get in some work without being too taxing. But tempo is kind of in a no man's land for me. So I like threshold pace and I like easy pace. And then if I'm doing faster work, then I like kind of like 3K pace or 5K pace, something real fast. But that tempo pace usually falls into like a don't really use it that often. Oh, yeah, I think the more I've talked, the less that's made sense. If you have follow-ups, let me know. All right, Jana says, I'm running a 5K New Year's Eve race. That's not on New Year's Eve, a day before that. Okay. And maybe even a 6K trail next week if I'm lucky. Awesome. That sounds cool. I'm trying to think. I don't think I'm gonna have any. Well, let me see. No, I don't think I'm gonna have any races for the rest of this month. So maybe in January, I'll have some. I may get into one at the late end of the month, but we'll see about that one. But oh, by the way, yesterday. So yesterday, Tommy and I were talking about a Tracksmith event, right? And so that Tracksmith event is the one that I might race in. But that Tracksmith event is going to be New Year's Eve, and Nick Willis, who has like an incredible streak of sub 4-minute miles. I think it's 20 years or something like it's something unfathomable. I'll have to do a little bit more research, but he's going to be going to set his next year like right after midnight, I think, of running his next consecutive year of sub 4-minute miles. And I believe that the event is a fundraiser for the Tracksmith Foundation, whose head is going to be Russell Dinkins, who has been working tirelessly to help save track and field programs across the country, especially as like lots of universities were using COVID as a reason to cut track and field programs. And so I think it's pretty cool because that foundation's goal is to help support and promote track programs throughout the country. So I think if I have the facts on that from reading the couple of emails that I got on about it correct, I think that's what's going on. And that day, so it's like part New Year's Eve gala, and part indoor track meet. And so, but basically it's all running miles. It's at the Armory, which is the same place where the indoor track USATF championships will be. And there'll be different heats for a couple of different age groups, I think, for very young kids. And then also different paces. So I think the heats will end up probably being like mixed gender. There'll be a sub 6 heat and then a sub 5-minute heat. And I was like, and there's also be a Masters heat. I have a feeling the Masters heat's going to be like super fast, like crazy. Like people like Bromka will be in it. And they'll be running like 430s or whatever Bromka can run. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be there, but I'm just using him as an example as a fast 40-year-old. But so that's the event. So that's what I'm thinking about. I was supposed to be in Connecticut with my sister and her family and my mom and dad, but I'm going to see if I can go to this event in New York. So we'll see. All right. Melvin Umang says, what's talking about wearing in your what's next vid? And more importantly, did you like them or would you recommend? Still struggling to find the daily trainer. I'm wearing the Triumph 19, which I don't know if it's my mobility exercises that I've now been doing for a long time and kind of like my lateral strength, kind of strengthening things, that daily routine. But I like the Triumph 19 way more than I like the Triumph 18, even though the Triumph 19 seems a little bit firmer and still nowhere near as soft as the Triumph 17. That was peak softness for the Triumph. But the Triumph 19, I'm finding that I really do enjoy as a high stack height daily trainer. Like it's still in the max cushion category, but doesn't have that max cushion kind of like sluggishness to it. So it's still pretty poppy. I like that one a lot. I usually use it for recovery runs and easy runs. I think it's a really good shoe for a long, easy run as well. Definitely one that could soak up miles. So I do like that one. I wouldn't call it a classic daily trainer, but if you're looking for a daily trainer from Saucony, I think that's a really good one to take a look at. So I do like it a lot. I don't love the checkered flag pattern that this one is that they sent me, but of the checkered flag shoes, I do think that the Triumph 19 is probably the least offensive or the best one. Yeah. So I do like that one. I do recommend it. Yeah. To answer that question. Didoma says, no, now my power is gone. That's so funny. All right. I'm way behind you guys in chat. I'm going to scroll down. Sorry. I just noticed that I'm like 20 minutes behind you guys in chat. Thomas Villa says, do you have any interest in doing a year-end happy hour in the evening for us to have a proper beverage? Oh, that's an interesting idea, but I think it would have to be early. I mean, I don't know how I would do that because there are different time zones for lots of people. And I think it would be with my family. I might also, again, be at that Tracksmith event. We'll see. Yeah. But I do like that idea a lot. We'll have to figure out something. Maybe we could do like an hourly check-in on Instagram or something like that. That's a lot. I think my family and my parents would definitely be really annoyed if I did that like every hour. All right, Lucas H says, I did answer the question. I think equating paces to race paces makes it easy to understand. I like easy plus to explain a tempo run. Cool. I'm glad. All right. What did Melvin say? I don't see it. Yeah, Secure Elite says tempo is just below threshold pace. Purpose is to run faster or longer. Threshold is long intervals above threshold. And purpose is to increase the threshold level. I like that definition. I usually put mine right at threshold. But I think we're picking nits maybe. Oh yeah, Melvin Mume says SJD says does he? I don't think he says sheezy. It's steezy, steady and easy, right? Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. Not sheezy, steezy. I think that's what it is. All right, let me keep scrolling down. All right. Richard says, I legit hated the Triumph 19. Only got 400 miles because I wanted to get my money's worth. 400 miles is a lot. I think these days, like, for better or worse, I think 300 miles is a pretty good number to get out of a shoe. So I think 400 miles, you definitely got your money's worth out of it. But what didn't you like about it? I can see there's certainly things that I think that some people would get really annoyed about. So I could, we'll probably be talking about the same things, but just curious what you didn't like. Lee says, hey, Co, any plans to do some more triathlon training? Yes. I'm waiting for conditions to kind of improve a little bit before I go back into the gym, because that's where the pool is. So I would love to be able to get on the bike more. And like, I don't have an indoor train, like a smart trainer or anything like that. I would love to be able to do some Zwift. But failing that, I mean, we got a Christmas tree up in the house now, and that's kind of where I would probably put it. So maybe when that comes down, I can do that. I don't really want to go to the gym now. I'd probably be fine, but I'm not sure about that. There is like a little mini gym in my building, so maybe if I go on really off hours, I can hop on like the spin bike that's in there. But the main thing for me that I need to do a lot more of is swim, and I don't really want to be going to the indoor pool right now. Maybe in a little bit. I mean, we still have an indoor mask mandate in Chicago, so I don't see that really lifting this winter. And I don't really want to go the whole winter without swimming, but we'll have to see what we do. Maybe in January I'll feel better about it. We did sign the girls up for some swim classes again. So, we'll kind of reevaluate and see in a little bit, but probably not so much. Maybe I think I'm going to try and get on the bike a little bit more, but probably no swimming for the rest of this month. Unfortunately, I really need so much help in that arena. Ken says, Co, have one of your video paused in another tab. Might be out of the loop, but when did you stop using Whoop, or still using it? I stopped using it. I used it for maybe like a month or so. Yeah, the reason why I stopped using it, I think, is because it wasn't giving me that much different data from my Polar watch. So I feel like a lot of the recovery metrics are based on the same underlying data that Polar can give me, like heart rate variability, beat to beat interval, like respiration rate, and sleeping heart rate. Like a lot of those go into Whoop's kind of like recovery score. And so I was getting a lot of that same. I was able to look at the raw number in addition to like the recovery, like kind of analysis and summary. And I was getting a lot of those same numbers from my Polar Watch. So I was like, all right, I don't need to use this anymore. And the other thing that was annoying for me with the Whoop is that it won't let you connect to another heart rate monitor. So I had the regular size wristband, but like wrist heart rates don't work well for me. I think I'm bony, or my wrist shape is too scrawny or something, because it never stays in the right spot during a workout. So I always have an external heart rate monitor. And so they make a longer wrist, they make a longer band so you could put it up on the upper arm, which is where I normally put my heart rate monitor. I just never got that. And so all my like metrics for Whoop were off because my heart rates, it looked like I was running at max heart rate for like 30 minutes every day. And so Whoop always thought that I was doing maximal efforts every day for 30 minutes. So it was like, you need to rest more. So that threw everything off, which I could, kind of interpret what it was saying. But, it just, my data was always a little bit messy, and I really easily could have fixed it. I just was like, I'm good. I've used it enough. But if you don't have a Polar Watch, then I think that it can provide some interesting additional metrics. But, I'm starting to look at some other watches again. I'm wearing the Koros right now. I still got to figure out a Garmin watch to look at. No, I'm looking at the Wahoo ticker right now. Sorry. And someone was mentioning something. Oh, because like Koros just did a big update on their data metrics. So maybe I'll pick up the Pace too, because that's a watch that I still haven't looked at. So I'll have to look to see like how well other watches do the recovery metrics. But like those are the stats that mean a lot to me. And I love being able to look at those. So. All right. PJ says, didn't get into Chicago. It's a bummer. Not sure if I go for cherry entry or just plan on running slightly smaller races like San Francisco and CIM. I think it's a tough call. I think that, the first 2 times that I ran Chicago were on a charity bib, and I don't regret it. I really enjoyed doing that. But then like after the first year, I reached out to family and friends, and was like, help me raise money for this great cause. The second year that I did it, I was like, I was telling my wife, like, I want to do Chicago again on a charity bib, but like, I don't want to ask people for money. So we just paid like the entire amount, like right up front out of pocket, And so, so that's something I did. And like my running buddy, he's like, I'm not asking people for money anymore. So he's like, if I ever do a charity bib again, it's going to, I'm just assuming I'll pay for the whole thing. So like that's like the thing that stinks about it. But I don't think Chicago is the most expensive of the charity bibs generally. It depends. It depends on the charity. Depends on when, because like the prices move around a little bit when you do the charity bibs. Like if you signed up for a charity bib last week, it would have been cheaper for most people, for most organizations. Now that the lotteries have gone out, everyone, ups their price a little bit. It's like tiered pricing. So yeah. So it's, it's like, if you're going to be fit, be working out, you want next year to be the year, I say, go for it. I really enjoy the race. I'm very biased because it's my hometown race, but it's a lot of money, and CIM is certainly a very, very fun race. And, I hope that it gets, not bigger, but like I hope it gets more attention, which probably means that it would have to get bigger. But I think it's, I think it's not, I wouldn't say underrated, but I still think that it's not as well known as it could be, but it's a great race. And next year I definitely want to try Grandma's next year for the same reason, because I think that's another good one. That a lot of people travel for. That's a well-run race. It's a good place to run fast. So there's always other options, but world majors are definitely a little bit of a special kind of different kind of race. Seeker Elite got into Chicago. He's hoping to finally meet a few of us. Awesome. I can't wait to meet you in person. That's going to be awesome. All right. Chris Dyke likes the Triumph 17s. They're heavy in his current rotation. Bought them in spring, but quickly realized they were better suited for colder temps. That was a hot shoe. It's very puffy. It's very, very puffy. But it's so squishy. It's nice. I really like that one. I miss it. I definitely miss it. All right. Let me scroll down just a little bit more. I gotta get going soon. X Truth says, just picked up a Garmin 945 LT and it's so nice. See, I'm thinking about that's the one. That's the main one that I'm looking at. Either that or I might pick up like an old Phoenix. But I'll probably look at the Garmin 945. Brian Free says, fortunate to qualify for Chicago. Curious how long pickup lines are the day before. It depends on when you go. If you go at busy times, then it's going to be a long wait. I went like right when the expo opened. And even then I did have a little bit of a wait, but I only waited to get in because they had to check your vaccine cards. And then we waited in line for like the gates to open. And then once I got in there, it was like everyone was kind of like fast walking to get to the front of like the waiting for your bib area. And then once I was in there, I was like 4 people deep. And then I got my bib and it was super fast. I talked to other people and like lines snaked around and it took them a while and they were annoyed about how like long they were on their feet. So, if you go like after work time or on Saturday, like towards the end of the day, like when people have maybe flown in Saturday morning and they checked in their hotel and then they're going to the expo, then your wait's going to be a lot longer. Richard Moy says, do you have any plans to run New York City? It's the only marathon I've ever run. He did it 3 times, but obviously a great race. Plus, I think the hills are actually fun to train for. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever say hills are fun to train for, but I think the lottery starts later. It starts in 2022, right? That's not something I should have signed up for already, is it? I don't think so. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try and get into the lottery for New York next year and see what happens. I will very likely go either way, whether it's to participate as a runner or to participate as a videographer. Next year, I might try to, I feel like next year I'll probably try to get the media credentials if I'm not actually running it. To see if I get access to the finish line area. And now that I have a better sense of like how easy it is and isn't easy to get around, I think that I'll be able to capture some of the elites a little bit better. And then I'll plan on just doing a lot of running. So that way I can like run and get to the elites towards the finish. And then, I won't be able to get a really great finish line shot, but I'll try to get somewhere in Central Park if I can get those credentials and then run back out of the park and try to catch like normal people, like my friends and stuff, and just the general public. So I think that's something that I think I would like to do again. So, I feel like, I certainly would love to run it, to race it, but I think that either way I'd be excited. Lou Boy says, hey, I daily train in my endorphin speeds, training for a first 10K in March. I have a slight supination and want to get a carbon plated shoe. Any recommendations? Yeah, I would say, do you think the supination bothers you when you're running at race pace? Because if it's not, then I would say don't like try and find a specific shoe for it. Just try to find a shoe that you really enjoy running fast in, right? Because I think like the way your foot hits when you're running easy pace is a little bit different than the way your foot hits at race pace. So, I think there's a reason why like race shoes don't come in like stability versions, is because at race paces, you're really not going to need them. That being said, there are certain ones that are wider than others. So like the Hyperion Elite 2, I feel like is a wider shoe, and that DNA Flash midsole foam is a little bit firmer. So it's not going to like compress as much as some of the squishier foams like the Fuel Cell and the RC Elite 2 or the FF Turbo in the Metaspeed Sky. It's not like completely like, crunching down and then expanding back out again. So I think the Hyperion Elite 2 would be a good one. I think that the Rocket X and also the Carbon X2, like the Hoka options, I think are also good. The Hoka one's probably the X2 is probably the better option for you if you're worried about supination or overpronation, because again, it's a wider base for you to land on. Leanna says, plans to do a vid of your 2021 favorite running gear. Yeah, but you know what? This year, everyone is trying to outscoop each other. So all those videos started coming out in like November. So now I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to wait till the way end of the year now at this point. And I think it's smart for everyone to do that, because then you could do your favorite gear, because nothing new is coming out between like Thanksgiving and Christmas anyway. So like you can do videos of all that gear, and then have affiliate links if people have those, and then give people gift ideas. But I think I'll probably do a series of them. So I'll probably do like my favorite of each category: daily trainer, max cushion, speed day, race day. And then I'll probably also do just like a general like favorite overall gear, kind of like the best ofs. So I'll probably do something like that. Well, I'll do a best of, and then kind of like a follow-up. I'm not sure which order I'm going to make those videos, but I think I got to start planning out the calendar. Those videos take forever to make, but they're usually a lot of fun. But it's coming. Jay Free says, liking the newish glasses. Thanks. I got them from Roca about a month ago, 2 months ago. I like these because the anti-reflective coating on them is really good. Better than the anti-reflective coating on my other glasses. So I find myself wearing these the most when I know I'm going to be on camera. All right. Let's do one more. And then I got to get going for today. Yeah. Melvin Yumang said, did you not catch your own dad joke, Mike? It's growing on me with the haircut. Yeah, I know. I heard, as soon as I said it, I heard it. I didn't want to draw too much attention to it because I walked myself right into it. But yeah, definitely heard the dad joke about the hair. All right. I'm going to get going. Today, I'll let you guys know. I don't know when it's going to come out, but today I'm going to get interviewed by Scott Coomer of the 10 Junk Miles podcast. So he lives in Chicago. He's out on the South Side. So I'm going to drive over to his place and get interviewed in person for that. That's going to be later this evening. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'll let you guys know tomorrow, like when he thinks it might come out. But it's an interview that we've been trying to schedule for a long time. It just hasn't worked out for a variety of reasons. And we finally got it on the calendar for today. So I'm excited about that. And then tomorrow we'll have a video. I'm not sure what tomorrow's video is going to be. I think it's going to be a run motivation video. Just I brought the 360 camera out. So I'll probably just set it to some music. So not a nice short video on an easy week. Or maybe there won't be a video. I'm not sure which one it'll be yet. But either way, I'll see you tomorrow again at the live stream, same time as today. And we can chat again then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.